Headed to the oven for 450 degrees for 15 minutes. Pumpkin pecan pie with the pecan crust. Looks so good. It made so much filling, my recipe did, that I did another pie, crustless pecan pumpkin pie, and I added extra pecans on top of it. Let's see how she turns out. It may be the biggest mess, or it might be the most wonderful thing. Let's see. Well, good morning. Welcome back to A Country Boy Can Cook. It's an early morning. It's you can see out the window here. It's dark 30. So, why do I always cook in the mornings? That's easy. I'm in heart failure. By the afternoons and the evenings, my old gas tank, I'm just run out of energy. So, every once in a while I'll cook in the afternoons and cook dinner, but yeah, I like the early mornings are best for me. And I may cook dinner early in the mornings and just reheat it for the afternoon. So anyway, today, how about a pie first thing in the morning? How about a pumpkin pie? No. How about a pecan pie? No. How about both together? You ever heard of a pecan pumpkin or a pumpkin pecan pie? Yeah, and what kind of crust are we going to use? No, I didn't. I can make crust. I think I showed you on my last video one. It's a simple recipe. If you want to know how I make crust, I'll leave a link to it. But I do it in a food processor. It's just like that. So, but today, no flour crust. So that should make some people happy because there's no other flour added to this recipe. I don't know what they call that diet that you can't have flour, but if that works for somebody, maybe that'll help. But anyway, get the camera around over here and see what you can see here. So see my food processor? I've got pecans in there. Yeah, you know what they do when they make a graham cracker crust? You take graham crackers and pulverize them and put butter and sugar with them. Yeah, well, we're going to do that with pecans and do that as the crust on the bottom. All right, let's get to mixing the pie. I've got everything kind of already in the bowl. There's my pumpkin puree, Eagle brand milk, one can of pumpkin puree, a little bit of pumpkin spice, there's some brown sugar, and I hit it with a touch of salt. I'll have the recipe printed at the end. And then it gets 3 eggs. And I always crack my eggs on a flat surface, not on the side of the bowl it's going into. I want to make sure that it all gets in there, no extra crunch. Even though, since this is going to have pecans in it, you might not notice the extra crunch. Be a good source of calcium. So far, so good here. Got one more huevos left. Come on, one more now. I know you can do it. There it is. Oh, and I said, while I'm mixing this up, I said that I was going to make a pumpkin pecan pie. And I'm going to use the pecans for the crust. Oh, no. There's more, Johnny. I'm going to put pecans in the pumpkin itself. The crust will be pecan. I hope it turns out. I've never done this. You're going to see right along with me. It might make a mess. But I think it'll be good. I like thinking outside the box. That's always done good for me in my life. Well, a few times it was like, hold my beer, I got this. I jumped a short story. A buddy of mine helped me get a dune buggy street legal I lived in a little town north of Dallas called Farmers Branch, just a suburb. It's kind of all taken in by Dallas now. And I had a rail. I've got a picture of it, I think. And it took a while to get it street legal. I had to have some lights on it, even they weren't going to use it. Had to have a windshield wiper. I put a manual in it. Didn't say it had to be electric. Put a horn, beep beep. Got my brake lights hooked up and everything. And like I say, it took about a month. It was really a fast buggy. And got my inspection sticker on it, got my license tags, and boy, we were going to go have some fun. So the first trip, we're headed to Lake Grapevine, and from Farmers Branch, it's about a 20-mile run. And they had some off-roading areas that you could go at the back of the lake up there. And we were headed that way. And we weren't even out of Farmers Branch. And at that time, Farmers Branch was pretty small, and there was a bunch of gravel pits on the left as we were going past. And I remembered I went out there fishing one time, and part of them were bulldozed in. They were getting ready to put buildings out there, so they were filling these pits as they went along. I said, "Heck, going to Grapevine, let's just go out here." It's about 7 in the morning. It's summer, it's daylight, and I said, "All right." So he said that was good with him. So, man, we took off, went out there, and we were jumping in. And they would leave like a little 3 or 4 foot little dam, and it'd be flat on top. And we would jump those and get all 4 air, Dukes of Hazzard style jumping. And I spun around up at the top. It had handbrakes, so if you want to make a sharp left-hand turn, it's like a Murchie brake, except there was 2 of them independently. And so I pulled back left hard on the handbrake, which locked the rear wheel, hit the gas, and it spun around in a couple of donuts, and we were having a good time. And it kind of, when I stopped, we was headed, there was another little dam up there. It wasn't where we had been riding, but same location out there. I said, "Hey, look at that." And he said, "Yeah, go for it." And I said, "All right." So we were up in about 2nd or 3rd gear, and he's shooting going to go for it. And I said, "Yeah, hold on." We had seat belts and everything in this thing, and I nailed it. So I don't know how fast I was going, no speedometer in that thing, but it was at least going 60, 70 miles an hour. We were going to get some big air, and I hit that, and buddy, I got some big air, all right. Now, air wasn't the problem. On the other side, that gravel pit had never been filled in. It was full of water. And it was about 100 foot across. And even though Dukes of Hazzard made those long jumps, I knew this dune buggy wasn't going to make it. And he had just got through saying, "Go for it." Well, I did. And all I remember is slamming on the brakes like I'm in midair, like that's going to do something. All 4s off the ground, and I needed a parachute, and it nosed over and went straight down into the water. Went under the water with us in it. As soon as it hit the water, and the shock was over, it kind of went down and kind of stopped and kind of started backing up. It had these big old fat tires that were going to float it. I didn't intend that to happen, but anyway, I hit my release on my seatbelt. They were 5-point harnesses. Got out there, and he did. By the time we were swimming to the top, here comes the dune buggy floating up, and the big old tires and the motors exposed out of the air. Then we kind of looked at each other like, "Oh my God, what did we do?" And then we started laughing as we were climbing up on the rear tires, floating this thing. So we paddled her in the shore the best we could, and of course, no way to crank it. The front end's under the water, and so we climbed up the bank. And the gravel pits they're not like a lake that's smooth. They're straight up. The shoulders are straight up and down. So we got out of there. I said, "Well, I guess I'd go back to the house." I had a 4-wheel drive Chevrolet pickup. We were probably 5 miles from my house, and he said, well, maybe somebody will pick us up. And I said, yeah, we look like two wet rats. It's been hogs been rolling around in the river bottom out here. Well, ain't nobody gonna pick us up. Well, sure enough, this old guy come along and said, y'all need a ride? I said, yeah, we're just going up here to Holbrook. That's the street I lived on. And he said, well, let's hop in the back. He said, y'all look kind of wet. And I told him what had happened. And he just laughed. So he got it to Holbrook, and I told him what's the house, and he got us there. I appreciate it. And I said, oh, you anything? He said, no, it's been a fun experience just talking to y'all dudes. And I said, I can't wait to tell my friends what happened. So I got my old pickup, went back out there, threw a chain off down the side, hooked it up to my four-wheel drive, drug it up on the bank, got it turned around so I had a tow bar on it, and I was going to tow it to the house. So I told my buddy, I said, hey, get in that thing. I'm going to put the chain on the front. I'm going to tow you across here, and we'll kick the, if there's any water in the exhaust or in the motor, the battery I knew it wasn't going to crank. You can just pop the clutch and it'll turn it out and spit the water out of the cylinder so it doesn't lock it up later on. And he did, and it spit and sputtered, and he said, it sounded like it wanted to crank. Key was still on. I had not thought about turning the key off when I was playing Dukes of Hazzard. So I said, well, get in here. Let me drive it, and you pull me, and I'll see if I can get her going. Man, it didn't go 10 foot. That baby fired right back off. Had this loud stinger exhaust on it. I said, all right, unhook the chain. So he hops back in, seatbelts on, and here we go again. And we're doing some donuts out in this flat spot, laughing about jumping out in the lake and all that. And I hooked the battery is behind the seat, like on a regular old Volkswagen Beetle. And I hooked a fast turn, and it flipped that battery out and blew it right in front of the tire and right over it. It exploded the battery, and that was it. She quit. So I said, well, I guess it's time to go home. And we hooked her up to the tow bar and drug her back to my house. And later that afternoon, I was saying things that, oh my God, that could have been a bad mistake. What if it had knocked us out? We couldn't get our seatbelts on. We'd have been in the water. I mean, all these thoughts ran through my mind after I said, hold my beer, I got this. So, yeah, I think out of the box every once in a while. So, anyway, let's get to the recipe. I'm sure you're tired of my stories, but, these things ain't no script. They just pop in this old dude's mind. So, anyway, I've got the mixture. I've got 3 eggs in it. Like I say, there's pumpkin puree. There's one can. There's 1 can of Eagle brand. A touch of a pinch. God, that's hard to get out. A pinch of pumpkin spice. 3 eggs. 1/2 a cup of brown sugar down in there somewhere. And a pinch of salt. I think that's why the pinch was coming in a while ago. So this is an easy recipe. I mean, you can make this is a wonderful recipe for a pumpkin pie. And I've got a couple that I made before Thanksgiving. I've got the videos up there. I made one that was crustless. One that was on regular crust. I will tell you that this, once it's baked, the top of it, and you bake it for 15 minutes on 450, and then you turn it down to 350 and bake it until the center sets. That's usually about 30 minutes or so. But when it gets through baking, the top of the crust, the top of the center of the pumpkin pie, it will almost have like a creme brulee topping to it, kind of a crunchy little thin sugary coating topping on it. And it is so good. Now, is it going to do that with the pecans blended in? Shoot, you got me. And how many pecans do you think I need in this thing? Let's add some. Pecans out here. And my friend Susan gave me these pecans. Susan, I want to thank you. She watches my videos. I'm putting your pecans to good use. I hope I don't ruin them for you in this one. If it turns out good, I'll bring you a piece of pie. Let's see. I have no idea how much to put in here. Because there wasn't I looked online, I found one recipe, but it was, I don't know, the lady just put some pecans on top of it. I wanted to have lots of pecans in it. Does that look like enough? I think it needs a little bit more. And I got a feeling this pie filling is going to be more than my little old standard bowl. This usually makes a regular, about a 10-inch pie, and then a little bit left over for a ramekin. And I always do a crustless for my wife. So anyway, let's set that to the side. I have, you see that there? There's a 1/3 cup of butter, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Let me get these. I mean, that's my way of thinking. These been kind of a fine, like almost like a flour. Looks pretty good, boys and girls, right there. Well, I was going to just mix it in this bowl. Let's see if my antique food processor will just mix everything together. The brown sugar, the butter. One of these days, maybe Santa will bring me a new food processor. If I've been a good boy. Not naughty, but nice. Or maybe I was so nice I was naughty. I don't know. Let's see if Paul says. Can you do it in a food processor? Well, looks like it wants to stick up on the sides there. Make sure I don't get that down in there. Shoot, I was trying to save myself, but let's take the lid off, buddy. Is it sticking together? Yeah, it is. And then we'll pulse it one more time. Come on. I think that's good enough. Get my bowl over here. Careful with that old blade. I don't know how it stays sharp, but it's sharp. And I learned one thing. Don't ever put the blade out of a food processor in your sink that has lots of soapy bubbles. A public service announcement. Don't ask me how I know, but I know. Let's see here. I think that'll squish up against the side. It's holding together pretty good. Hey, I may have come up with something that maybe I can get 10 likes or 20 likes or maybe 1,000. I don't know. I've sprayed this with non-stick. Oop. I don't even know how much of this that I used. much this is going to take. Maybe a little bit more. My old Boy Scout cup to the rescue. Yeah, it's going to stick on it too, I think. Oh, now it's getting a little bit of butter on it, so it ain't going to stick. Now, should I blind bake this? Come on, get off the bottom of that. I hate to go in with my hands, but it looks like I may have to. My hands are clean. Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it right here. I think it's going to take all of this. All of my mixture. I may have put too much butter. I put 1/3 of a cup. That's about what I do with graham crackers. Of course, I'm realizing that graham crackers kind of soak up the butter because it's dry. I'm not sure that pecans are going to soak up much. One thing about it, it should be buttery pecan. That's a flavor, isn't there? Like ice cream or something like that. All right. I think it's starting to relax, and I may get this done after all. You can see I ain't the fastest dog in the kennel, but I try to get her done anyway. Especially thinking out of the box like this. Making a crust out of pecans. I mean, what's not to like about that? Goodness. Trying to get it up so it'll be all up on the edge. Y'all bear with me. I'm going to get it here in just a minute. I don't think I'm going to blind bake it. I'm afraid if I blind bake it, the butter will let go and let everything fall to the bottom. Let me get my hands cleaned up, and I'll be right back. I'm back with you. Let's get the pecans. Like I say, I think the filling isn't going to be way more than I needed. But that's only, I've never tried the half that recipe. I'm sure it will have, but we might end up with another pie. Stirred it really good before yeah, we're going to end up with another pie. A crustless one. It does look pretty good though. Alright, I went to get another pie pan and to wash my hands up. I wonder if I should take and put that in the fridge and cool it for a while. No, I ain't gonna do that. I do need to spray this though. Be right back. No crust. Gotta spray it with some release. I don't even know if I'll have enough to fill this up. Yeah, it's gonna make 2 pies. And plenty of freeboard. Y'all know what freeboard is? It's like a boating term. Like how low the boat sets in the water. And I was going to try a different way to make this too. So I'll do one with no crust on the bottom. I mean, with no pecan crust, I should say. And this one, I'm going to put more pecans on top. I've already opened this bag. Don't worry, if this recipe doesn't work, I'll bring it back and show you the collapse. Headed to the oven for 450 degrees for 15 minutes. Pumpkin pecan pie with the pecan crust. Looks so good. It made so much filling, my recipe did, that I did another pie, crustless pecan pumpkin pie. And I added extra pecans on top of it. Let's see how she turns out. It may be the biggest mess, or it might be the most wonderful thing. Let's see. All right, let's get these in the oven. As you crooked here, straighten up there. I'm back. My pie crust ring. I use this on my regular pie crust if there's a chance of it getting too brown on top. When I baked my last pumpkin pie before Thanksgiving, it didn't do it. It was my homemade crust and it turned out wonderful. But in case you worry about it, you know, 15 or 20, 30 minutes into your baking, if you see it's getting too dark, they make you. You can go to my store and buy this, my Amazon store, right? This is a Walmart throwaway. A pie pan, just like you've seen me put the pie. I took a pair of scissors and cut it out. So don't go to Amazon and say, hey, where's the old dude's pie ring? Just make you one. It's a lot cheaper. I think those pie rings are like $5 or $6. And this does a wonderful job. I didn't use it last time, but I've used it before. I've had this for many years. It's kind of like my old bean can that I cut biscuits out with. Yeah, my wife asked me one day, said, you gonna throw this thing away? And I said, no, I've had it for 20 years. I think at that time I'd had it longer than I'd had her. The green bean cans and cans of beans now, the bottom is rounded off. And to cut biscuits out, you need both ends open. So how do you do that on the modern cans? Maybe you could still buy some cans. I don't know. Most of them I ever see are rounded bottoms. So anyway, I said, no. I put it up there by my rolling pin. In fact, let me show you where it's at. We're just killing time anyway. You can see it up there. The rolling pin, it slipped over the top of the rolling pin. There's my grandmother's old sifters. Grandmother's, not my grandmother's sister's, her sifter, flour sifter. This is my pie safe. I don't know, I think that's what you call this thing. And we bought that pot holder Jefferson, Texas, in an antique shop years ago. So you can see my old coffee pot hidden right there. Yeah, I've retired it. And I have a chef's cap that I was given. I wore it one time. I just felt stupid. So anyway, lots of memories up there, and some stuff I still use today. But anyway, there's my bean can and my roller, my mother's biscuit roller. All right, let's check this. It smells good. Let's check this. It smells really good. crust is getting a little brown. So, a lot of butter and sugar in it. So in goes my homemade pie protector, crust protector. I've turned the temperature down to 350. We'll see how she does. All right, let's see. I've got the one that had no crust. I turned it down to, I think, 300. First place, I shouldn't have started it at 450. First time to ever bake these. It looks like it's got the bottom a little brown. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's brown around the edges. It may not be burnt. It just may be the sugar's browned out on the edge. But, and it's set. So I'm anxious to taste of it. It's set in the center, yeah. I don't know how I'm going to cut a piece out of this, but I didn't even know if it would set with all the pecans in it. It smells really good. Actually, it's going to pull out of the pan, okay. Let me get a little plate or something. Back with you. We got me a fancy Christmas plate. Just so you know, I've never been a pecan pie fan. It was too sweet, too gooey. And I've eaten them before. The only ones I ever found, Walmart had some little bitty pies about 3 inches around one time, and they were pretty good. But the regular big pecan pies, they weren't for me. But I'm thinking maybe this will be good. Maybe I'm just wrong. I've been wrong before, so let's get a bite of this. Let me get a tester's fork here. Did it come out? Yeah, it's going to come out. It's not cooled down, as you can see. Let me show you the bottom of it. It's a good thing I took it out when I did. See that? It's not burnt, just a little brown up here on the edge. Let's see what it tastes like now. I'm anxious. It will get, I'm sure, I mean, this is just right out of the oven. You're supposed to wait about an hour. And I'm probably going to burn my lips, but I've just got a hankering to taste of it. That's really good. Man, goodness. This is a game changer, boys and girls. Man, it's really good. Not the syrupy, thick pecan pie that I don't like, but definitely the pecan flavor and the pumpkin together. This is a hit. Now, got about 10 more minutes on the other one. This was a lot thinner, and I'll let the other one cool down before I cut it. So I'll bring you back here in a little bit. But this one right here with no crust, it's a wonderful thing. Came out perfectly clean. Just a little brown around the top edge. You can't even taste it. It's not bad at all. And the bottom was perfect. All right, I'm back with you. Let's see what I did good. Let's see what I didn't do. If I was naughty or nice. Yeah, I'll change the recipe the next time, but it turned out fine. So let's look at it. I know it looks like it's burnt. I should have put the ring on sooner. The ring I didn't have on straight. I had it pretty much covered over here.
This is not as much, but this really is just under the edge, just a little bit, and it's only on the top side. I tried to look up underneath the bottom. There's no burn under there. Looks good. So I can live with that. I know next time, just put it in for 5 minutes at 450. That sets it. And then put the ring on it and turn it down to 325 and let it do a long, slow cook. It's cooked now, but I'm going to let it cool down. The crust feels like it's set. Like I say, this is something my crazy old mind came up with. That's ground pecans, brown sugar, and a little bit of butter. I had a bite of the other while ago. It was just absolutely great. So bring you back here in about an hour and let this cool down, and we'll cut into it and check the center, and we'll look at the bottom and see. This is real true cooking here. Wasn't even a recipe. Let's see what she turns out like. I'm back. The pie has cooled down. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm not going to turn it all the way over, it'll fall out, but it did not burn on the bottom. Just around the edge, just a little darkness here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna taste just the edge and see what it tastes like. Does it taste burnt? You can see it just barely right on the edge. I think it did that because I had it too high to start off with. I was used to cooking regular crust. Let's see. Oh no. It may look dark, but it's really good. Burn it. Pecan crust is good stuff. I might try this, just a pecan crust sometime, and bake it into crackers. That's really good. All right, let's cut a piece of this. I'm starving. I don't know if it'll come out or not, but excuse me. Allergies are bothering me today. I never baked a pecan pie because I didn't like them. They were just too sweet for me. Too gooey. I don't know how to explain it. I don't mind the sweet, maybe. Just too much gooiness. If that's a word, gooiness. Let's see if we can get this out. Oh my goodness, I think it's going to come out. Get my plate over here. I didn't throw that away. I'm the only one here. I just ate a bite off of it, so. Well, the crust broke a little bit where I had cut the top of it off. That's okay. What's the crust taste like? Well, that's really good, just the crust. I know it's dark, but it's not burnt. You'll see me with a different video. I'm going to do a crust about this thick and let it bake and see if I can cut it into candy bars. All right. Boys and girls, the crust is a hit. can see the top has got that, like that creme brulee top on top of the pumpkin pecan. It's not burnt like I thought. It would have stayed together better if I hadn't have broke the crust off. But it's really good. That'd burn it really, really good. Crust and all. My goodness. Wow. Boy, this is great. Yeah, I don't mind if I do. Another bite here. Greatness, goodness gracious, this is good. That's like the best pie I ever had. I think I need to name this pie Larry's Pecan Pumpkin. How's that? It is so good. I mean, it's really good. Okay, Mrs. Fields and Marie Callender and Toasty Cake and all those. Yeah, if you do this recipe, that means you stole it from me and I want a cut. Don't you think that'd be the right thing to do? Give the old dude a cut for coming up with this recipe? I think so. So from now on, if I see anything that Mrs. Marie Callender comes up and it's like this, I know they've been spying in on the old dude. Anyway, it's really good. And I'm going to eat the rest of this. So thank you so much for following me. I do appreciate it. Subscribe, share, you know all the stuff. Subscribe, share, ring the bell, ding, ding, ding. Hit the little bell to follow more. Tell your friends about me, good or bad. Say, you ain't gonna believe this old dude. Not only does he think outside the box, he ran over the damn box. I'm gonna eat the rest of my pie. Talk to y'all later. Let's get another piece out that I didn't break the crust off of and see if it'll stay together. Oh yeah. What do you think about that, boys and girls? Yeah, I told you the crust would hang together. Pumpkin pecan pie. Old dude style.